Right, so we have essentially what is leaks and rumours of a new Injustice game, Injustice 3. And those of you who don't know and haven't been watching me over on Twitch for the past few years that I've done it, Injustice 2 was actually the game where that I kind of started doing streams with. I think I started doing some streams over here for it and then kind of moved over to Twitch and found that that's just a better place to do streams. I know there's a big I'm not going to get into the conversation of like Twitch versus YouTube today. I just find that Twitch is better for streams, and I've found it better for streams over the last years of doing it. I've kind of flip-flopped, but yeah, I've always found Twitch just easier to get on with, in my opinion. But today's video is not about that. Today's video is about what does an Injustice 3 look like, and more importantly, who's going to be in it. And I thought I would come in here, do a little bit of a thought experiment, because I did initially a few years ago, back when I was like really into Injustice 2 and I was playing it like every day. I did do a video where I was like, Injustice 3, I did 2. I did Injustice 3, 5 characters that I really want in the game. I can't remember exactly who I said, but there's 2 that I know I said in that list that really stick out in my mind, that are like givens that must make an appearance in the next one, and that is Constantine. I think John Constantine or Constantine, whatever you want to call it. We have to wait for him to be in a movie that's good and doesn't have Keanu Reeves in it before we know how it's actually spelled or how it's actually pronounced. And yes, I know Matt Ryan was in Legends of Tomorrow. I didn't watch that, and I don't remember a thing about that Justice League Dark animated movie. But yeah, Constantine or Constantine definitely needs to make an appearance in one of these. I'm surprised he hasn't already, given the popularity of that character, given that he would fit in this world so well. I'm surprised that we got Swamp Thing before... I'm surprised that we got Swamp Thing before getting John Constantine or Constantine. And I'm surprised that he wasn't a DLC character in Injustice 2. I'm surprised he wasn't brought in as a DLC character. Looking at that as well, Hawkman is my other must. He's one of my favourite DC characters. It's purely a design thing. I just think his design is really cool. I think, Hawkgirl was already in the first one. Hawkgirl is getting play in James Gunn's DCU. I think Hawkman deserves some love. Just the fact that he hasn't been in any of these, he hasn't been in a video game that I know of, outside of the Lego ones. I think he needs his day in the sun, his spotlight, and I don't think James Gunn has plans for him, but I think, there should be plans for him in Justice 3. Moving into other characters, and moving into things that... I'm not going to make this a specific, numbered list. If you want a numbered list, I do have previous videos that are numbered lists. But what I really would want is... and to go to, place in time those previous videos. I think in my guest character video, my top 5 guest characters, I think I mentioned Rambo, who ended up being a guest character in Mortal Kombat 11, and there's been a sequel to that game come out in the interim from that, and Rambo appeared in that, so that video was before the Rambo DLC in Mortal Kombat 11, which was a good 4 years ago. So yeah, those videos are outdated now. Looking at who's going to be in Injustice 3, I think looking at potential new characters, the floodgates have essentially opened with a lot of characters that were niche to no names in was it 2018 when Injustice 2 came out? 2018, 2017 when Injustice 2 came out. And now, we've got characters like Peacemaker, who not only is now a household name thanks to appearing in the Suicide Squad and appearing in his own TV show, but also is in MK1. So there is a character model. There is a design around how he could play. Obviously, there's going to have to be some tweaking, some tooling to make him feel different in Injustice 3. But I think Peacemaker is a given, and I think he's probably going to take the place of a Deadshot. I don't think if we see anyone else from that from the Suicide Squad, I would personally like to see King Shark. I think maybe he takes the place of a Bane, or he takes the place of a Solomon Grundy. I know Solomon Grundy was in the first game. So yeah, I think King Shark maybe takes the place of your big brawler character. Yeah, I don't think anyone else from those movies kind of has a big enough staying power to outside of your obvious Harley Quinns, and I think they're a given. Harley Quinn, Batman, Superman, Flash, Green Lantern. Although I would say I personally believe that we should have the main Green Lantern in Injustice 3 be Jon Stewart. And if I were to really say what this game should be about, I think magic being at the center. So Zatanna returns from the first game, Dr. Fate returns from the second game, and I would love it if instead of staying in the Injustice universe, instead of staying in that, I would much rather Injustice 3 be just a straight up DC fighting game. I really want just to go back to Superman just being fun. We've got that in the movies now. I just want Superman to feel like Superman in this game. Superman being evil was fun for a time. I really want to get out of that kind of headspace. I know Injustice, the whole brand of that is what if Superman was evil and took over the world, and what if Superman became Hitler? I think we need to go away from that, and I think a return to fun Superman and these characters feeling like the characters from the comics. Because Wonder Woman is unrecognizable between what she looks like in DC Comics versus what she looks like in Injustice. Completely different. And hopefully, if she's more a likable character in the game, she might be more usable. She might be more usable when actually playing as her. So yeah, add Peacemaker, add John Constantine, add Hawkman. Who else do I think is a definite shoe-in? Other characters that have been repopularized by James Gunn, and characters that are going to be big mainstays in DC and film. going forward, Mr. Terrific was a standout of the Superman movie. So I think he's a definite, like shoe-in for get him in this game. And I think there is enough with Mr. Terrific where he won't feel like Batman in any way. I just feel like that's a really cool character that is now getting a boost in the rise in popularity. So yeah, just chuck that character in. Booster Gold is also going to get a TV series, so I think it's the perfect time to put him in as well. And the reason why I say Jon Stewart is I think he's going to be the main guy in that Lanterns TV series. I think he's the main Lantern that we're getting in the DC universe, in the DCU. So, translate that into Injustice 3. In terms of who I think a villain could be, I think if you go like full on with Titans, I know most of the Titans are dead in the Injustice timeline. That's never stopped them before. So we can always have some like multiverse hopping to make it so that Beast Boy becomes playable, because we look at the Titans that we do have. We've got Nightwing. We've got even though Nightwing wasn't in Injustice 2, if I'm remembering correctly. Nightwing isn't in Injustice 2. He's in Injustice 1, not in Injustice 2. Yeah. Because I know that the Robin in Injustice 2 is Damian. So, yeah, because Dick dies. So, yeah. But they can find a way to patch up the holes so that we can get more toys to play with, more action figures to slap together. Yeah, I just, I would really like to be able to have the full Titans team. I think the only ones missing are like Beast Boy and Donna Troy. Maybe Roy Harper, but I don't think there's any way to make Roy Harper, apart from giving him a special where he sniffs coke. There is no way to make Roy Harper different to Green Lantern. There's nothing that differentiates those characters apart from aesthetics, one being younger, and one of them's addicted to crack cocaine. That's the only differences. I think as a game designer, I'd find it very difficult to differentiate those two characters. Outside of that, when we think like if you're doing like Titans and you're doing like Magic, I think Trigon is the best bet. I think if you're doing like hardcore, you're going like hardcore Magic. Sandman might be an interesting choice. I don't think that's the way I would want to go, especially with the recent controversies with Neil Gaiman. I don't think Warner Brothers would be like gung ho with making with adapting a Neil Gaiman story into a video game. Just murky water around that. it's weird because I think something like just a personal one for me, Eclipso has been a really big thing in the Flash comics at the moment. He's turned into a massive deal. So yeah, I think he might be a cool thing to do. That also introduces the Spectre. I think Eclipso and the Spectre as playable characters would be really fun. Eclipso doesn't scream big bad to me in the same way that Brainiac, in the same way that evil Superman from the first game does, or like Doomsday, for example. I think it's about time Darkseid, shows up as a big bad. I think it's about time Darkseid, takes his rightful place as the true like antagonist of this timeline, and we give Superman a reason to like be like, I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm being an asshole. I killed Shazam. Fuck. I think either that or you kill Superman in the first like 5 minutes of the story to give like some real stakes, and to essentially be like, right, Darkseid's here, he killed Superman, we gotta go to that other timeline and bring in the other versions of ourselves to defeat Darkseid. The other versions of ourselves from the first game. That is like the core DC universe. Basically the comic book DC universe. We've got to bring them in, and they're gonna fight Darkseid. So that's your way of making Superman not evil anymore. You basically just kill him off in the first 5 minutes. You just kill off all of Superman's side very early on in the game, and then you can replace them with versions that look more akin to how they are in the comics and what their versions are going to look like in the DCU. I think that's the smartest way to go. I think that would be the thing that would make me the most happy, because I'm sick of superheroes versus superheroes. I'm sick of evil Superman. I just don't want that anymore. I know I said like going down a magic route. It's a video game. We can have branching like side stories, and we can have a villain that is a lead up to the big villain. So we can have like Felix Faust is machinations, and that's a reason why more magical characters are being involved, and it possibly could lead to a Justice League Dark. Deadman would be really fun, and could work kind of like Enchantress did. Fucking Enchantress got put in Injustice before John Constantine did. So, there's no excuses. The Atom got put in this before John Constantine did. So yeah, that's essentially my pitch for Injustice 3. I think this is the last one. This is the last one, and we stop calling it Injustice, and the next big DC game is Marvel vs. DC. You're doing comic book crossovers. I think that's the biggest thing, and I think Marvel vs. DC is on the same level as like a Dragon Ball Fighters. I know some people have said like, oh, the brands are lagging at the moment, they're not doing well in the box office. Marvel and DC don't have don't have a notch on Dragon Ball. It's not gonna bring in as many people. It's not gonna like be community driven as Dragon Ball FighterZ was. I don't care. I just want that game for my own personal thing, and it'd be really cool, just as a piece of history, just to be like, we got this, and it's made by NetherRealm, and it's not a fan game, it's not a Mugen game, it's an official license thing that you can go into your local game or your local CEX and you can just buy. And it, is good. That's all I want to see. Injustice 3 really, does it excite me? Yes, because, like I said, that's how I made my bones on the channel. I was making Injustice 2 streams, and, it was a really fun time getting into that game, and starting to play it like, I jumped into it too late to ever get good competitively, but I did have a lot of fun playing as those characters. I feel like that game as a game, incredibly well made. And I think Injustice 3, being able to get in on the ground floor, like I did with MK1. And seeing a game like grow and evolve, I will defend MK1 till the day that I die. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but I do think it's better than 11. So Injustice 3, just a new one of these, and a new one of these at a time coming out. When Injustice 2 came out, I didn't really care about the DC universe. Now, these characters are among my favourites. I'm a bona fide Superman fan. After 3 years of reading Superman comics, after a movie that definitively is amazing. Am I more excited for Marvel Tokon at the moment just because of what that game is? Yes. But Injustice 3 in my mind is something that will always be an interest for me, and because I already know what the game is going to look like just from like what NetherRealm has put out before. I'm excited, but it's got to be really interesting, and the character selection has to win me over. Marvel Tokon kind of nudges over for me because it's completely new, completely different to anything that I've seen before, and it looks just genuinely fun. And it's just coming in on a completely blank slate. Injustice 3 is it's like meeting an old friend again after about 10 years. You know what they look like, but have they changed? Are they in a better position than they were 10 years ago, kind of thing? So yeah, that's basically it. That's everything that I have to say about Injustice 3. About the leak situation, it sucks. Leaks always suck. They're always bad for the people making the games. And I don't mean they're bad for Warner Brothers, because boo-hoo Warner Brothers. But it's bad for, the men and women that are putting time into developing these characters and making these games. And to have that stuff leaked, and for people to see that and make judgments on it early, to look at your hard work before it's done, and to basically pass judgment and say this looks shit before it's done. I don't think anyone is saying it's shit. I think it has brought a lot of excitement and conversation into the fold. But that's not the point. The point is that, you know, people have been working on things for a long time, and it's not quite done in the oven yet. And you're seeing the same things that's happening over at Insomniac with the Wolverine game, and with freaking everything that Insomniac was working on. They had a massive leak, and people are passing judgment on this Wolverine game when we haven't even seen like a proper gameplay trailer at like a Summer Games Fest yet. That Wolverine game is becoming my Silk Song. The next year's Summer Games Fest, or the next like PlayStation Showcase, I'm gonna be full on in my clown get up, just waiting for Wolverine, just waiting for this Wolverine game to get something, just get something, and and once again I'm gonna be straight clowning when they don't show anything. At least our last PlayStation Showcase they showed off a Marvel Tokon, so you know, swings and roundabouts. But this is exciting for me, it's genuinely exciting for me, and if there is a Marvel character that comes out as DLC for this, for Injustice 3, because we live in a world where that can happen now. We live in a world where that can happen. You know, this month a comic book is being released where Batman is going to be side to side with Deadpool, and it's not a fan project. I mean, it is a fan project because the people that are writing it are fans of the characters, obviously. But it's, you know, coming out from Marvel and DC. It's going to have their logos on the cover. You know, it's a really, really exciting time to be a fan of both of these companies. And that's what I always say. I'm a fan of both of these companies. I'm a superhero fan through and through, just in general. You know, you don't have to pick a side. You can be a fan of both. You know, it's not that deep. It's you know, it's entertainment. If both give you joy, that's great. If you only get joy from Marvel stuff, and you really don't like the tone of DC, I would say, you know, look outside of Batman. But also, I would say fair enough. If you really don't like the tone of Marvel, especially Marvel movies, it's fair enough at the moment. I would say give a shot to Thunderbolts, give a shot to Fantastic Four, but, you know, and if you really don't like the tone of Marvel Comics, but you can't get enough of DC, and that's fine. You've got plenty to eat, plenty of good eating either side of the bridge, and if you're a fan of both, like me, you're just enjoying the feast. You're just enjoying feasting on, you know, this year has been really good on both Marvel and DC. It's been bad for the amount of people that have been watching those movies and the amount of people that are buying those comics, but the actual content that they're putting out, really solid. Really good stuff. So this is just another notch in DC's corner, and it's another thing for people to get excited about and make videos about. So that's all these companies really care about. As long as people are talking about the stuff that they're making, that's, you know, they're winning. They're making money. So, you know, here I am fueling the machine, fueling the corporate machine of Warner Brothers. And all I'm saying is that because my surname is Warner, that I get a little bit of, you know, I get a little bit of the chips off from the billions that they make from this video game. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comments below what characters you want to see in Injustice 3. Who do you think is going to be returning? Who do you think is going to be new? Who do you think is going to be the villain of this third Injustice installment? I think the only logical step is Darkseid, and we just end it all. We just, you know, burn the Injustice universe to the ground at the end of this one. That's my opinion anyway, but let me know in the comments below what you think. I will see you guys in the next one. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Bye.